Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. The Anomaly, TensuraXDate Alive, by Humpzwas Chapter 12, Rise and High. Rimuru Pav. Currently, Seal and Rimuru were sitting in the living room with Toka, Yoshino, Kagaya, Yuzuru, Miku and Shidu. Miku visited the spirit house after she finished her concert. They're going to chat together for a while to know each other better. With an eager face, Toka looked at Seal. Well then, Seal-san. It's a bit late, but since we will stay with each other for a long time, welcome to the spirit house. Seal-san. Welcome. Yoshinon in Yoshino's hand waved its hands. Yeah. Welcome, Seal-san. Kagaya said, being childish. Yuzuru felt annoyed by it but ignored it. Greeting. Welcome to the spirit house, Seal-san. Yuzuru said with a smile. Seal-san. You look so cute. And you too, Rimuru-san. Welcome to the spirit house, Miku said with a cheerful and obsessive tone. Seal just nodded without showing any emotion. And while Rimuru looked calm on the outside, she was nervous on the inside, more like she was panicking. But Rimuru managed to calm down after a while. Meanwhile, Shidu just stands behind Toka, happy to see how the girls interact with each other as he comments. You two look almost identical, but still different somehow. That's true, Rimuru looks cool while Seal looks cuter. But her face is quite blank. Toka agreed and said. Rimuru can't argue again that, she knew that both of them are almost identical on the outside. But when they act, Seal and Rimuru have a huge difference. We look the same because Rimuru-sama and I are one. Ciel's very casual statement seemed to surprise them. What do you mean by that, Seal? Shidu asked. And once again, to explain to them, Seal turns into a black fog to everyone's surprise. As the smoke returned to Rimuru and seemed to disappear, all eyes turned to her. When Seal returned, all eyes were on Rimuru and Seal. Whoa. That's great, Seal-san just puff and gone. After chatting for a while, Rimuru and Seal left to go upstairs to their room. Open the door. Her room now had a few changes. There was another bed that seemed to be for Seal. In one corner of the room now appeared two cabinets. Upon inspection, one cabinet contained clothes such as trousers, t-shirts, skirts, etc., which appeared to be a mix of girls and boys. The other closet is full of girls' clothes like skirts and dresses. It seems they were prepared for both Rimuru and Seal just as Seal suddenly appeared. The clothes were prepared based on what they observed from Rimuru and Seal. As far as she knew, Ratatosker prioritized the emotions of the spirits first. And because of that, they wouldn't do anything that would upset Rimuru or Seal. But ignoring the small changes, she turned to ask Seal. Seal, did you notice anything strange from Rain? Yes, although her body possesses spiritual power and function just like normal, her existence is more like a parallel existence. Seal said. Her expressionless face remained unchanged, but Rimuru could hear the displeasure in her voice. Is there something that troubles you? Yes, Rimuru-sama. I still haven't been able to explain how spiritual energies work, or how they come to this world. As far as I knew, all of the Sephiras seem to have souls in them. Souls? Rimuru muttered while thinking about what Seal just said. Yes, master, I have discovered several souls in the other spirits' Sephira. Wait. Why are there souls in Sephira? Rimuru was surprised at Ciel's words. Those souls seem to belong to the former owner of the Sephira, and they help the current owner of the Sephira from going mad. Ciel's answer made Rimuru speechless. Just how many people have died because of this? What was Mio's intention? These spirits do not belong to the normal system. They don't possess skills, and their power is not controlled by the voice of the world, so I can't fully understand them using normal rules. Rimuru remains silent. Less than it seems like these spirits are worth learning about after all, greater than. But at this moment, a knock from outside could be heard. Even though Rimuru and Seal hadn't opened the door, they both knew who was knocking. It was Toka. Less than why is she here anyway? Greater than open the door, Rimuru asks. Is there anything, Toka? Seeing Rimuru, Toka with her usual enthusiasm spoke. Since you would be bored if you keep staying in your room like that, why don't we play some games? Game? Okay. Since there was no reason to refuse, Rimuru agreed and Seal also accepted. When we got down to the living room, Rimuru saw a 4-player game console. Looking around, Rimuru didn't see Shido and Miku anywhere. Where did Shido and Miku go? Yoshino was sitting on the sofa and waiting. He said that he had something to do. Miku already left to go back home. Let's not care about that. Toka said, clearly not paying attention to anything else. She hopped on the sofa, excitedly. There's this new game I want to try out, and it's 4 players, so it's perfect for all 4 of us, Toka said excitedly and started the game. What about Kagaya and Yuzuru? Rimuru asked. Kagaya and Yuzuru already slept in their room. After the screen popped up, Toka threw a console at Yoshino. Air. This, what should I do? Yoshino said hesitantly as she didn't know what to do. Just press the buttons to Zug then P it and Bon. Toka tried to explain to Yoshino, and she made some strange sounds in the process. Well, then let's play. Yoshinon will be on the left and Yoshino on the right. Let's win this, Yoshinon said. Yoshino said in a small voice and together with Yoshinon grabbed the controller at the same time, entering the game. At this time, Toka also quickly gave the 2 controllers to both Rimuru and Seal. Hurry up, let's play, Toka said and started the game. Seal, after taking her controller, she looks at Rimuru as if saying, should I play? Rimuru nods to Seal and sat down on the sofa. When the screen entered the game interface, Rimuru showed a smile. Fighting game huh? In that case, I won't lose either, Rimuru said and placed her finger on the buttons. That's the spirit. Let's start, Toka said and the game started. This is going to be fun, Seal win. Shido Pav, a few minutes ago. This morning, the spirit house just have a new member. Seal, who looks exactly like Rimuru and seems to have appeared out of nowhere. But even so, the others seem to accept her easily. Kagaya and Yuzuru are already going to sleep after playing with Toka and Yoshino. In Shido's brief moments in contact with Seal, she showed almost no expression at all. The only time Shido saw Seal change her expression was when Rimuru complimented her. She kept calling Rimuru Sama, and Rimuru was not bothered by it. No matter how much he thought about it, Shido couldn't come up with anything. Guess he had to wait until Katori told him. But it didn't take long. Right after Shido thought that, Katori called him. What's wrong, Katori? Less than Shido, can you come to Fraxinus now? There's something we need to tell you greater than. I'll go there, right away, Shido said and quickly hung up. He turned to Toka and Yoshino. The 2 of them are currently watching TV in their spare time. Toka. Yoshino, I'm going out for a bit. Toka and Yoshino answered briefly and quickly returned to the movie they were watching. Shido just smiled lightly at them and quickly went up to Fraxinus to meet Katori. Present, as soon as the door leading to the control room opened. Shido was greeted by Katori who said nothing but just looked at him. It seems like there is something very serious, but when Katori saw Shido's face, she just sighed. Confused, Shido asks. What's wrong, Katori? Looks like you don't even know what's going on, Katori mumbled. Did something happen? Shido asked with a worried look. Never mind that, Katori said and quickly took a look at Rain. Behind Katori, Rain slowly stepped in front of her while holding a tablet in hand. Shido, do you remember your meeting with Rimuru last night on the roof? Katori said while reaching out to take the tablet from Rain's hand. What? Just answer it, Katori said with an annoyed voice. Yes, I do remember. Do you remember what Rimuru did? Katori asked while opening the tablet and started looking for something. Huh? Shido was confused when he heard Katori's question. What did Rimuru do? Seeing Shido's confused face, Katori sighed as she held the tablet towards him and spoke up. Just watch this then. When he looked at the screen of the tablet. On it was the video of Rimuru and him from last night. In that video, Rimuru was standing opposite him and slowly brought her right hand to his face. He still remembers that time, that feeling. Rimuru told him to close his eyes, so he did. And that was followed by a soft feeling touching his lips, followed by a cold and weird feeling. When that feeling disappeared, Shidu opened his eyes. Rimuru had already left without mentioning what happened. And even after watching the video, Shidu still didn't understand what Kotori meant, so he looked at her. First, about Rimuru, Kotori said, taking out the lollipop in her mouth and continuing. We don't know how, but Rimuru was able to seal her spiritual energy into your body. Huh. And that's the problem about her. Hearing what Kotori said, Shidu asked. Isn't that a good thing? That's true. It would be best if we don't have to force her. But her mood is still at 67. Kotori frowned. Huh? Shidu unconsciously let out a confused sound. He understood that to seal a spirit, their feelings had to reach a certain level to be sealed. But if Rimuru could seal herself, that won't apply to her. No matter how much he thinks, Shidu still can't understand why Kotori was concerned about this. As if understanding Shidu's thoughts, Kotori spoke up. Even though Rimuru accepted our supervision and sealed her own spiritual energy is a good thing, but it also means that she is not as stable as other spirits. With a little pause, Kotori continues. We don't know how much control she has over her power. But because she does not have as much emotion with you as other spirits, we won't be able to do anything if her emotion is unstable. Then is there anything we can do to help her? Shidu asked with a worried look. About that, Rain has a solution, Kotori said and looked toward Rain. When Kotori mentioned it, Rain slowly spoke up. Let's just leave it as it is. When Rain finished her sentence, Shidu just looked at her with a confused expression. Rain continued to explain. Rimuru doesn't like dating or romance things with you. She already told you that, right? Shido nodded. He still remembered what Rimuru said when she accepted Ratatosker's management. She didn't want to be sealed by Ratatosker's method in the first place. Luckily she has her way. But if that's the case, then how to increase her mention value? Shidu asked with a confused look. Though I don't know why, but Rimuru seems to has a soft spot for the other spirits. So as long as you keep her by Toka, Yoshino, Kagaya, Yuzuru and Miku's side while all of them are happy, everything will be fine. After Rain's explanation, Shidu also understood what needed to be done. But what about Seal? Shidu asked. He couldn't ignore her. Even though they had only met for one morning, the impression Seal left on Shidu was big. She doesn't look any different from Rimuru in terms of appearance. The only difference is the eye colors. And for breakfast, he also enjoyed the food that she cooked. Honestly, having someone else cook even if it's not for you, feels great. Shidu didn't know how, but the taste of the food she cooked was on a level that he couldn't reach. But her existence was still a mystery. He was hoping that Kotori or Rain would have an explanation. But contrary, Kotori frowned and spoke up. Seal is the biggest problem right now. Kotori said while sighing. After a while, she raising her voice. Rain, open the main screen and show Shidu the information we have. When Kotori gave the order, an image showing CL's parameters flashed on the main screen. Usually, what Shidu noticed would be the emotional value, but this time. Nothing, Shidu muttered in a surprised voice. There are no emotional stats, spiritual waves, or anything. Kotori turned her body towards the main screen. Even though he couldn't see her face, Shidu understood that this shouldn't have happened. No matter how many times we checked, we couldn't detect any information. Even scan results didn't show anything. However, Kotori said and stopped and looked at Rain. Understanding what Kotori meant, Rain pressed the buttons on the console and changed the projection on the main screen. The screen switches to another interface and text appears. Shidu read those lines, but before he could say anything, Kotori spoke first. Mana, CL's entire body is made of magic power in a method that we still don't know. Kotori said while frowning. Shidu started to feel tense even though he couldn't appreciate the seriousness of the matter. Then what can we do? To Shidu's question, Rain answered with a tired voice. According to our observation, Seal is focused on Rimuru's safety. So we should leave them alone. It's best not to stress them out. When Shidu heard that, he just nodded at Rain's comments. No matter what Seal and Rimuru are like, they still need attention from Ratatorsk. At this point, it seemed that there was nothing more to talk with Shidu, so Kotori spoke up. You should go home now, don't let them wait. Less than I don't think they would be waiting for me. Greater than. Rimuru Pov, despite some lamentations from Toka and Yoshinin, in the end, everyone played a few more games, and the next round, Seal gave everyone the chance to win. Rimuru and the others played for a while until Shidu returned. Shidu. Hello, or rather, help me quickly, Toka said while repeatedly pressing the buttons of the controller and moving her body according to her in-game character. Yoshino, please. Toka was about to say something but stopped immediately when her character was defeated by Yoshino. We won this time, Yoshino, the puppet Yoshinon said while holding Yoshino's other hand and celebrating. Haha. Rimuru smiled lightly after the match was over. At this moment, she noticed Shidu. He had just entered the house, in his hand was a bag that seemed to be the ingredients for dinner and he was smiling as he looked at Rimuru and the others playing games. When Shidu noticed Rimuru's gaze, he quickly looked away, placed the bag on the table and then reached towards the apron hanging on the back seat. And when he started peeling the onion, Rimuru heard Toka's stomach growl. Looks like we can stop here, right? Rimuru said and then put down the controller. Looking at Shidu, she spoke up. What do we have today? Rimuru asked while slowly getting up. Curry, Shidu answered while preparing the ingredients. Curry, huh? It's not usually eaten for dinner but it's good. The cooking time was also quite long, also Toka was hungry, so Rimuru decided to lend a hand. I'll help, Rimuru said while going forward and trying to find an apron for herself. Huh? Rimuru, you know how to cook? Toka speaks up in surprise. Of course, Rimuru said with a proud expression. I will help too, Seal said and also got up and went over and took out an apron that was left outside. When Rimuru and Seal were both getting ready, Shidu looked surprised and looked at them. Noticing his gaze, Rimuru asked, what's wrong? Oh no, it's nothing, Shidu said then quickly returned to the food preparation. Rimuru entered the kitchen and picked up the knife and placed the meat on the cutting board. On the other hand, Yoshino and Toka were watching and waiting for the food to be done. It feels boring to just do it the normal way, so. Rimuru throws the meat up into midair. With quick slashes and precise angles, Rimuru chopped meat in midair before it hit the cutting board. The minced meat fell neatly onto the plate in her hand. Rimuru's every move happened in a second and instantly received an admiring look from Toka and Yoshino. Wow, your hand moves fast, Toka said excitedly. Rimuru looks so cool, isn't it, Yoshino? While Rimuru was enjoying being admired by the two spirits, Seal spoke up. Master, you shouldn't play around with knives, you know? Toka and Yoshino can imitate you, Seal said in a stern and displeased voice. The smile on Rimuru's face instantly disappeared. When she looked behind, Rimuru saw Seal was watching. Her face still showed no emotion but her voice seemed to be criticizing Rimuru for her actions. I'm not playing, Rimuru muttered. In the back, Shidu looked at the interaction between the girls and just smiled sheepishly at this strange situation. Dinner was then prepared quicker and Shidu woke up both Kagaya and Yuzuru to eat and everyone enjoyed a rather casual dinner. In the afternoon, Katori also went to the spirit's house to check the condition. Hey Rimuru, Seal. I need to talk to you two for a while. Rimuru slowly walked over with Seal and sat on the sofa opposite Katori. After both they had sat down, Katori spoke up. Rimuru, do you want to go to school? Why should I? Rimuru spoke up in confusion. It'll be easier to manage you when Shidu goes to school and you'll be bored if you stay at home, right? Toka, Kagaya and Yuzuru is also a student right now. Katori repeatedly waves the lollipop in her hand while explaining. Thinking about what Katori just said, Rimuru didn't see any ill intentions and what Katori said was also true. Staying at home would be boring. I'll go. But what about Seal? Rimuru asked. According to the analysis we obtained, there is mana in her body, right? Katori asked and received a slight nod from Rimuru. Ratatosker has decided that if Seal is allowed to enter school, she may be detected by her mana, so we will put Seal on Fraxinus with Yoshino. Katori said, put the candy back in her mouth, and looked at Rimuru and Seal, waiting for their opinion. But it didn't take long as Seal spoke up. There's no need to do that. I can stay inside Rimuru-sama while she goes to school. Katori heard CL's words and started thinking for a while before speaking up. If that's the case, that's fine, Katori said as she stood up and slowly walked to the back of the kitchen. But before disappearing from Rimuru's view, she spoke up. Tomorrow will be your first day at school, so be ready, Katori said and then left. The short talk with Katori quickly ended and Rimuru began to enjoy the rest of the night in peace. The next morning, when she woke up, Katori called Rimuru to go with her to the airship less than Fraxinus greater than. Ch12. Another morning, Ch12 woke up to greet Katori and then went to the spirit house. He met up with Toka, gave the lunchbox to her, and went to school together. When he entered the classroom, a girl with short silver-white hair and an expressionless face stood right in front of him. I'm glad you're fine, Ch12. Origami. Ch12 called out the girl's name. The last time he saw her, Origami was knocked unconscious by Rimuru. Based on her emotionless voice, Ch12 could somehow guess that she was worried about him. Tobichi, what are you doing? A familiar voice rang out and it was Toka. It's none of your business, Origami glared at Toka. Of course. Every morning school starts like this and Ch12 is used to it. And when the bell rang for the first class, Ch12 and the others settled down until Tama-chan sensei entered. She was walking with her usual cheerfulness, and as she stood in the middle of the class, Tama-chan spoke up. Good morning class. Today I have good news. Our class will welcome a new student. As soon as Tama-chan sensei finished her sentence, the whole class burst into a frenzy. At first, Ch12 thought it would be Rimuru because this morning he saw Katori taking her somewhere. But when Tama-chan sensei said, keep your voice down, please. This new friend is a bit shy, so remember to be nice. Ch12 immediately dismissed the thought that it was Rimuru. Rimuru was always confident and could handle any situation with a calm demeanor. She was cheerful, and he had never seen her being shy before. Could it be Seal? No, Seal was always beside Rimuru and didn't want to separate from here, so that was impossible. No matter how he thought about it, Ch12 couldn't conclude, so he decided to wait and see who that person was. Okay. Come in, Tama-chan said in a cheerful voice. The classroom door slowly opened and in came a girl with silver blue hair. She was wearing a Ryzen schoolgirl's uniform. Her eyes were golden in color, her gaze downcast and seemed to be avoiding other students. When she turned to face the whole class, Ch12 almost yelled in surprise. That girl was none other than Rimuru. I'm Rimuru Tempest. Nice to meet you, Rimuru said in a reluctant voice. Ch12 couldn't believe his eyes. Is this Rimuru? Good job. Now I'll choose a seat for you. Let's see. Tama-chan said and started looking around the classroom to find a seat for Rimuru. When she looked around the class a few times, she pointed to a random seat. How about over there? Yes, thank you, said Rimuru and slowly walked to the assigned seat. No matter how hard he looked, Ch12 wasn't used to seeing Rimuru showing any shyness. When he tried to look around, Origami, she looked surprised. Toka looked very interested. Every gaze was now on Rimuru as she walked to her seat. Ch12 has no idea what was the cause of her shyness. Okay then, let's start our class, Tama-chan spoke up and class then started without any trouble. When it was the end of the first class, Ch12 slowly looked over to Rimuru who was still at her seat. With a worried face, Ch12 slowly approached Rimuru. And her eyes were red. Seal. An emotionless sound was enough to prove that this was Seal. Where is Rimuru? As he says that, Ciel's eyes suddenly turned to a golden color. Is there anything you need? Ch12? Rimuru and Seal can switch? This is the first time he saw them do this, so he could not hide his surprise. Are you okay, Rimuru? You seem weird today. Rimuru was silent for a while. Then she sighed and spoke. No, I'm not fine at all. Ch12 immediately felt relieved knowing that apart from her attitude, she was still normal. Is there something bothering you? Ch12 asked and Rimuru looked at him as if he was asking the obvious. With a tired sigh, Rimuru recounted the events of the morning. Katori took Rimuru aboard the less than Fraxinus greater than and gave Rimuru the school uniform. And according to Rimuru's words, she doesn't like the uniform when the skirt is too short. Rimuru had wanted to change into a boy's uniform but was denied as it might lead to some curiosity students and, accidentally provoke Rimuru. And most of the time Rimuru was just doing something, but she didn't say anything and just looked away and avoided Ch12's gaze. Rimuru has trouble with female underwear and body, so she has to ask Seal for tactical assisting. Ch12 only smiled wryly as Rimuru showed an annoyed expression. In fact, he was also feeling annoyed. It's not because of Rimuru's story but because Ch12 is talking to Rimuru. Every boy in the class is now gazing at Ch12 with a killing eye. Every time a new female student get into this class, they spent most of their time around him. So he is hated by the boys, but at this moment, a voice rang out. "Why are you here?" A voice lacking in tone came from the opposite side of Ch12 and it was Origami. "Oh, Origami? Long time no see, huh?" Rimuru spoke up, somehow returning to her cheerful self. "TCH, I still haven't given you permission to call me by my first name," Origami spoke up in displeasure. "Oh, is that so? What a pity, but I don't need your permission," Rimuru said, once again provoking Origami. "Calm down you two," Ch12 spoke up and cut in between the two of them. "Ch12, stay away from her, she's dangerous," Origami said and pulled Ch12 away from Rimuru. Suddenly, another voice spoke up. "Rimuru." An excited voice rang out and with that, Toka suddenly rushed forward and grabbed Rimuru's hand as if in celebration. "We're in the same class. Would you like to have lunch together?" Toka spoke to Rimuru excitedly. Although Rimuru was a bit surprised by Toka, she still responded to her words with a light smile. Suddenly Toka noticed Origami. She let off Rimuru's hand, turned around, and fight over Ch12 with Origami. Looks like everything is back to normal. And the day ended in a completely normal way with Rimuru's participation. Although most of the time, she just observes what's going on around her, gradually she has become more open up. She hasn't interacted with other classmates much even when some of them are trying to approach her. But as long as she is fine with it. Afternoon. Rimuru was completely exhausted after a day of school, so Ch12 and the others let her rest.